There's nothing like a successful garden. Whether it's a fresh batch of food, fragrant herbs, or a beautiful bouquet of flowers, they just don't taste, smell, or look as good unless you've grown them yourself. So what's the key to success? Before we think about growing anything, we have to start with breaking things down. That is, compost.
Composting is the natural process of mixing waste materials so that they decompose. Compost equals decomposition. But you know, it's much more than that. Because really decomposition takes place in nature out of doors. Compost is the natural way with waste. But with composting, we organize our materials in a controlled process so that we maximize the rate at which compost is made.
Even with great organization, composting has to start with a good recipe, paying attention to what goes into it as well as what doesn't.
The process of making compost is the same, and it's so simple, so much fun. Families can do it together. So what we do is we start with our leaves, and our recipe is 50% of the total mix is brown leaves. But we'd like to have them in little pieces so that they don't mat up and shed the water. Tear up my green materials into small pieces. Of course, grass clippings are great, but a lot of people leave their clippings on the lawn. So these days we use any green materials, and we can also use fruit and vegetable peelings cut up small. And coffee grounds actually count on what we call the green side of things. Then I'm going to add some compost or soil. This happens to be some municipal compost. It's like a starter. It's got tons of microbes in it, and then I'm going to add water. And the trick with the water is to make the compost mix as wet as a wrung out sponge. We're going to sort out and not put in weed seeds or any diseased plants. There's just some do's and don'ts. And of course, no meat. I'm assuming the audience understands no meat, no dairy, no bread. Those materials belong in the garbage disposal or the trash.
Compost works by breaking down the organic material into nutrients. This is done by decomposers, which not only add stuff to the soil, but limit and eliminate the bad stuff too.
It's just a balance, a nature's balance. It's full of millions and millions of decomposer organisms. Now, some of these decomposers we can see. You can certainly see earthworms and ants and sow bugs, but the real worker bees of the compost you cannot see. It's millions and billions of microbes, microorganisms, which are bacteria or fungi. And what they're doing is simply eating the yard waste material and turning it fairly rapidly into a rich gardener's gold, which we call compost. So we're in a woodland setting here looking at how compost is made in nature. And we have leaves and clippings and pine needles, pine cones, everything's decomposing. And underneath the litter layer, we find compost. There it is, exactly what I made in my home bin. And there'll be decomposer organisms. From a water quality standpoint, we love compost because it will filter out pollutants that might be running off of a yard. And in addition, it will fight soil-borne diseases, which are fungus related. So when used in a garden, you've just reduced problems with any diseases.
So with a simple recipe of 50% dry leaves or dead matter, 25% green matter, some soil, compost if you have it, and water. With that, you've got the makings of compost. Just be sure to add enough water to take the crunch out of the dry, dead leaves. And remember to mix it around every few weeks. Soon enough, your plants will be growing healthier and looking better.
From yard waste to yard riches, we've basically got gardener's gold.
If you've enjoyed this seedling on composting, be sure to check out swakstudios.com. Click the on-demand link and search seedlings. I'm Jennifer Corman, and every seedling matters.